Hey guys, how's it going? This is Drew with Switchfoot, and I'm going to show you my gear. We are out here on tour right now in Chicago on the Looking for America tour with Relient K, and I'm going to start off showing you what I'm playing. First thing I'm going to show you is my new guitar. It's made by Relient Guitars. It's called the Royal Haven, and it's a collaboration between Andy Elliott and I, and it's a new model of his. So our dream was to build a 1960 Junior in with an Epiphone cornet from 1965 and then make it thicker like a Telly, and that's exactly what we did. So he put his P90s that he winds himself in there and a stop tail piece, obviously the pickguard I designed inspired by one of my favorite Epiphone cornets. And the finish he did a fantastic job on. I don't know if you can see this, but he did it the original Gibson Red type finish where it's just gorgeous. You can see the wood grain through it. From playing outdoor festivals, the sunshine has already started turning a little orange. You can see, which is what it would normally do in a vintage guitar. And this guitar right here it's got the bark of a P90 in the bridge. It really just, the bark and the growl, I actually play it about right here. And its middle position actually will get me like almost a Strat kind of sound. So the back gives me this sounding. And then the middle position, I can actually get sort of a Strat sounding. And then the front pickup is just a full sounding kind of a lead pickup. Yeah, so we chose mahogany and just a really beautiful wood, classic looking knobs, one switch, just kind of like a Telly where it'll go one, middle, two, and the neck is rosewood, and I believe I'd have to ask Andy because this is the actual first guitar of this. This is the prototype. We're going to put him out for sale soon on his website as the Royal Haven model. It's very comfortable to play. It's got a Gibson style neck that is just feels like I'm playing my 1965 335. It just really feels classic. The tuners are Junior style tuners, and that's his own headstock shape, and it just hangs right, and it's good, and it's got that double cutaway space up here for you to play in, and yeah, it is a solid sounding guitar, my favorite guitar out, and yeah, you can check him out soon on his website. I'm going to put out some other videos explaining more about it, some demo videos and things like that, so appreciate you checking it out. Alright guys, my strings, I use Ernie Ball 10s. This guitar's in drop D, so I use the thicker low string because it's down tuned and it'll stay stout and in tune. I always have used thicker strings, so sometimes I'll put 11s on it. I'm using 11s on a lot of my guitars. Just kind of makes me work for it a little more. I'm not like a super fast lead player, so I just like the strings to stay in tune. Have to work a little bit for it, and so my clumsy fingers don't get out of place. So what I'm doing is plugging in with these sinusoid cables. These guys gave me a few cables to try for this tour. I'm really digging them. They sound beautiful, and they're by Sinusoid up in Seattle. I guess they make all of these in their shop just for their company, and they were kind enough to stock me up. And so what I'm doing on this board, this is a Creation pedal board, and it's a gorgeous wood pedal board. And I was at first like, man, I'm gonna beat this thing up, man. You don't want to put a wood pedal board out on my stage. But he was like, man, go for it, try to beat it up. And so I have, man. I've just been using it every day, and it's been awesome. We've traveled around the world with it. It's really handy because you can plug straight into the side with your lead cable, and everything's wired internally, and then straight out with for my 2 amplifiers out of here, and then that's it. It's got an on-off switch on the side, and you actually just can power it up and down your board. So my signal chain goes like this. I do light, medium, heavy on my gains. And what I'm using for light is my Greer light speed. And I'll also use my JHS Super Bolt. That's a pedal Josh designed as we were talking about Supro amplifiers and some of my favorites. This is one of the most transparent overdrives I've ever played. It's not giving a whole lot of grit. It's just pushing my amps. Then the next one I use as more of a functional distortion. And for this tour I'm using the Walrus 385. And the Walrus Audio 385 is modeled after a projector amp, which is really cool old Bell & Howell tube amp that a guy in LA produces into amps. But really the essence of it is a small tube amp turned up loud, which is what I like to do for distortion. Kind of just that it's about to blow up kind of sound. Then I go into my custom JHS Bun Runner. This is a pedal I designed with Josh, and it's basically a 4-knob tone bender and then a modern style fuzz here. And this side of this tone bender, this side is now his Firefly pedal, but this is just one of my favorite sounding circuits I've ever had. Let me see if I can just play it a little bit for you. So it can get really, fuzz overdrive, and then I can back the volume off and it'll still sound really cool. So something like this. And it kind of gets that focused mid-range sound when I back my volume off. When I bring my volume up, it just goes into fuzz. So anyway, that's my fuzz sound, and then both of them on together is a real gated sounding fuzz, which I use quite often in the set. So anyway, so I go my gain stage, and then I go into my tuner, because that way if I have a loud thing going here, I can mute it all with my tuner. So I always put my gains before my tuner. That's a little stage trick that helps keep noise down. Then I'm going into my Julia, Walrus Audio Julia, and I got this pedal to use for Float, our single, and just started loving it. It's the sound you hear on the record that kind of goes like this. So it's that line, and I use it for just that modulation. So I go modulation, and then I've got my Cusack tremolo going into a Ibanez 89, a pedal that I've had on my board since I started playing guitar in high school. I just love analog delays. Obviously the kind of thing that I use it for live is the sustaining notes down into feedback. So like. So I'll use it to create feedback loops live quite a bit. I've got spaceship noises coming out of it and things like that, so it's a fun pedal. I love those. My next one I'm using is the Matthews Effects Astronomer. This is the big sounding reverb that I can get out of it, that's got the shimmer and the travel. Actually calls it glow and travel. but it's that modern kind of reverb sound that everybody's hot on. It's got the you can hear the octave up happen after. So it's that. But then I had him put a remote switch on it for me so that I could switch it between the two reverbs to a smaller reverb. So this is just my smaller reverb. Right there. When I'm doing a song that needs just a lighter reverb, I'll just switch it down. The delay pedal I'm using is the JHS Panther Cub, and it's got a bit of modulation to it, which I don't use a whole lot of, as you can see, but it's an analog delay with a tap tempo. I've got a switch coming out of it over to this box here on the side that just allows me to tempo that analog delay. So I don't have to reach there. It's just my reverb time and my delay tempo is just kind of set over here. I love this delay. It's powerful. It can do a lot of things. It's got a lot to it, a lot of power to it. It can actually be a really forceful delay. I use it pretty lightly live. Okay, and then the last pedal I've always used is my amp switcher, and that's my radial switchbone. This just gives me my 2 amps or both amps. So it also has a boost.
I was like, bubbles are cool though, right? Like,
and the boost is very usable. I actually really love the sound of the boost on this pedal. So I use it to drive my amps quite a bit because my concept is that I've always gone off of is, tube amps being pushed really hard by a guitar sound better than a distortion pedal. I like to make the amps do the work, let the amps do the heavy lifting. So my amps are low wattage amps that I turn up. So let me show you those. On this tour, I mix up my amps quite a bit, but on this tour I'm using my classic 6.5 London head. And this is, I believe it's about 18 watts, and as you can see, I only have the volume up here about halfway, so it's just breaking up. And so that's my clean tone that has some clean headroom to it. And I'm playing it through a revival cabinet with a blue and a green Celestion in it. And then I've got my little amp here is my Revival 81 that was a company that I started a couple years ago, and it has since ended, but I love the product and I love the amps. The amps were fantastic, and it was built by Eric Burns, and it's basically a 5-watt tube amp built just like they did in the 50s. Everything about it is top shelf, and I just turn it all the way up, and that's my distortion sound live. The volume and tone are just both all the way up and all the way open, and it just it's explosive. It's really explosive, and it's a very natural tube gain on that amp. So those are the amps I'm using live on this tour. They change around a lot. I'm a gear collector. I'm a gear nerd. I love to switch things around and play different gear. It's just so fun. I've got a few of the other Elliott guitars on the road. I've got the Tone Master and one of his Telecasters style guitars, and they're also phenomenal. Just the attention to detail is just a crazy amount of attention to detail. Hey, this is the other 2 Elliott guitars I'm using. This is the Tone Master. This is kind of one that's been around the world, man. This guitar has taken me a long way. It's got P90s in it. These are Fralin P90s that were put in the original one, and he's since been winding his own pickups, but these are the other ones. So it's a string-through body, and calls it the Tone Master, and it's just a very solid guitar and very usable. So my concept with the guitars is kind of like my concept with amps. For the lighter songs, I use a Tele with single coils. For the medium songs, I use my Tone Master with P90s, and then for the heavier songs, I'm using my Royal Haven. So I just let the guitar push the amp further for the heavier songs that we do. This is the Telly, it's gorgeous as well. He's micro measured everything. It's got a gold foil pickup, so it's just beautiful, responsive, articulate. Yeah, it's a gorgeous guitar. But I use it for the lighter songs, you know. So, you know, the concept is just using the instruments and the amps and the pedals for the sounds that they were made to create. Really, everything has its voice, you know. So a heavier guitar, I don't try to make it sound chimey and pretty by using an enhancer pedal and an EQ pedal and another pedal. I use a guitar that naturally sounds chimier. This has 11s on it, and this one has 10s because you know what? Andy Elliott actually said the wood on this sugar pine is so soft that if I used 11s, it would start to pull these little caps into the wood because it's so soft. You can tell it's soft here. I've already put a bunch of dents in it with my belt buckles and stuff. But alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm Drew with Switchfoot. You can check out our tour on our website, switchfoot.com. We have a new album out, obviously, called Where the Light Shines Through, that we're very proud of, and it's out everywhere. Are on tour right now with Relient K. We're on a tour called the Looking for America tour, and that comes from a song on our record called Looking for America. So it's a really powerful statement, and we really feel a sense of that that unity and that power out here on tour. So thanks for watching. I'm Drew, and this has been my guitar setup.